can skip a stone, but don't skip the ad.
Yeah. Hi everyone. It's Jarrod and Jenhan.
Yes, from the Cherry Agency. I saw your solo intro.
Nice, right?
Very nice.
I got
very
confidence
nice.
to open the show.
I feel like, oh man, what am I bringing to this? You were so good in it.
Thank you. I know it's been a very long time since we posted something.
Yes, but honestly, worth the wait because this is the season 1 finale, and it's a two-parter. Okay.
Who do we have for this next episode?
We have none other than VJ Anand, ECD of EMEA and Global VaynerMedia.
I had a lot of fun doing the episode. He had so many stories.
Yeah, he had so many. Okay, and like it was very evident, very fast. He's such a good people person. He literally was brought to the region to build a culture for the company. In the podcast, he says that he actually is not a very creative person. He's more of a people person, but I think he needs to give himself more credit.
Without further ado, finale of season 1. Don't skip the ad with VJ Anand.
Let's go.
Don't skip the ad.
Hi, welcome everyone to the show. We have today VJ Anand, the ECD of EMEA and Global EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Yeah.
For VaynerMedia.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome on board.
A lot of people butcher the name actually, but it's Gary Vaynerchuk is the owner and VaynerMedia is his agency, among other companies.
VaynerMedia. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you. I know you're jet lagged.
Where did you fly in from?
I live in London and also travel to Amsterdam quite a bit.
Yeah.
We have an office in Amsterdam and Berlin next. And Dubai next. So yeah.
Wow. That's the EME. So next is A, I guess.
Africa, maybe.
Not Amsterdam.
I do like Amsterdam, but yeah.
You mentioned you just opened Amsterdam office, right?
We just opened up Vayner Amsterdam maybe a few months ago. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to that and what you do at Vayner.
Cool.
Correct?
Yeah. Vayner.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta get it right.
You have never been so conscious.
Bro, what if Gary V listens to it and he goes, Punday, this fella, don't know how to pronounce my name.
He's definitely listening.
Hey, you never know, Imam.
He might have picked it. Yeah, he could have picked it up for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Some cuss words, but yeah.
And let's start from the start, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, Jarrod, what do you want to ask?
So, Vijay, tell us more about yourself.
So I come from a small town called Taiping, very small town, beautiful town. If you've never been, please go. The food is amazing. Even people from Ipoh and Penang. I am an ambassador for my city or for my small town.
My dad's from Taiping.
Definitely much better than London
Amazing.
food.
Yeah.
Oh man, Taiping food is crazy. So I come from Taiping. My mom's an art. My whole family, they're all teachers.
Yeah.
My mom's an art teacher, so I used to draw quite a bit when I was younger. That's how I kind of got into it. And when I graduated, my dad wanted me to be in the family business, which was a teacher, I think as well. But
So your dad was a teacher also?
Yeah. So all of them, my dad, my mom,
That's the
and my
family
brother.
business?
My family business is they're all teachers.
Teacher,
yeah,
cartel.
they're all teachers, and
It's a typing thing,
they
right?
thought, there's a lot of teachers. There's a lot of school in typing, surprisingly for a small town. But yeah, so they wanted me, I guess, to be a teacher, but I wanted to do art and design because I like drawing. One of my uncles, I think he had a bit of a stint in Ogilvy in his younger days. So he came to my parents and said that, you know what? It's actually quite legit, like it's a...
It's actually quite legit.
Yeah, advertising it's a job. Like you can do something with art and design. But before that, like I was never really good at studying. I was smart enough to get a grade 1 in SPM. Like I don't like studying. I can't read properly. Like all my textbooks would have doodles and drawings. That's what I used to do. I would draw and everything. But at the same time, I was also an athlete. I used to run 100 meter for district, school and district.
Short
then
distance,
I had
a sprinter.
100, 200.
Yeah.
I used to play football. My school is a rugby school. It's King Edward VII. I was a school debater as well. So the debating part, I got a bit from my dad. My dad was a unionist, a very famous teachers union, and then president of QPACs and stuff like that, like government servants union and stuff like that. And I used to play in a band in high school as well. So I've got like a lot of different passion points.
It sounds like your family is very encouraging of like everything. Like,
no, they're not encouraging. Honestly, they just let me do whatever. I was basically a free bird.
Hold on. They let you do anything you want and you decide to I'm going to be an overachiever and do sports and debate.
I never said I was an overachiever. I said I was into a lot of things. My dad used to say, jack of all trades, but master of none. So that hit me quite a bit when I was a lot younger. But I was good at a lot of things, but not an overachiever.
What about the naughty things? I mean, what I mean is
that
like...
as well.
That as well. Okay, so you
everything.
did everything.
I was just a free bird, honestly, at school. And then along the way, they thought, okay, advertising, it seems legit. Why don't you go to university. So I went to Lim Kok Wing first.
Yeah.
I did design for 1 year and I hated it. Coming from a small town, Taipei, and going to Lim Kok Wing where it was all just rich kids who wanted to party.
Was this
and
the
no
one that's already in Cyberjaya or before?
This was Tun Rasa way before. Culture shock. You come from a small town, I didn't have a lot of money. We were not well to do. You go to a college with a lot of rich kids and then you're like, people laughing at your clothes. Like, where the fuck do you come from? You come from like so you look like a kampong boy, things like that. And then some of my lecturers left and went to University Telecom, which is MMU. So I followed them. So I skipped 1 year. So I graduated earlier than a lot of people because they were like, you in my 1 year in Lim Kok Wing, I guess I left an impression. They were like, oh, you could draw, you could do cool stuff. I could also sell quite well. I remember 1 year I did some really fucked up looking art installation. But I sold it so well that I got an A. So they were like, oh man, this guy should be in advertising. He's so good at
look
selling
where you
bullshit.
ended up.
True. So funny enough, when I went to university, I didn't study advertising. I didn't major in advertising. So I liked learning something new. That's something about me, like always something new. So they had a new major other than advertising, which was digital media. So it was learning to code, learning to design
Around
websites.
what year was this?
97, I graduated.
Right.
Sorry. I started 97. I graduated 99.
So this would be the late 90s.
Yeah, late
Digital
90s.
media.
Yeah, so it was quite early on .com. So I did that, although the lecturers were quite shocked that I didn't take advertising because they thought, oh, this guy was good at advertising and didn't take it. My first job was I was in Maxis, in a small digital agency. And I was designing stuff for Maxis Net. This was when they were doing like food reviews. Maxis Net actually did a lot of things before a lot of people did things. Maxis Net was before Maxis had a .com. Maxis Net was a lifestyle portal at 1999.
A portal, wow.
Yeah, lifestyle portal. They were talking about like movies that were launching in
So it's an
Malaysia.
agency within Maxis.
No, we were part of a small web agency called Cell Network, but we were seconded to Maxis. So I worked in Maxis. At that point, it was quite interesting because my specialty that time was doing interactive CD-ROMs. Nowadays, it doesn't exist anymore. So every time you subscribe to Maxis Internet, you would get a CD-ROM to put in the CD-ROM, the interface and all that. I used to design all of that for you to log into your Wi-Fi.
The installation disc.
Yeah, the installation disc, did the design for all of that. So I was good at doing those things. And I went to Brunei, did secondment in DSTA, one of the Maxis partners, and then came back. So I was doing that. And an interesting story there was Maxis' first ever .com, Maxis.com. In the year 1999, I actually designed it. The agency owner had like a competition among all designers. Like, we're going to win this project. All of you all design a website, present to me and the client, and we'll pick one. And mine got picked. So the Maxis' first ever corporate website was designed by me.
There, you heard it here first, everybody. We are here with the designer of the first Maxis.com.
Do you still have the
Nobody
image?
gives a fuck about that anymore, man.
But we were just going to post it up.
Yeah, but one thing I learned from that is really that helped me a lot in my advertising journey is how users look at things. So back then, user journey, your eyes would go top left first. Your eyes would go here, there, next. You would click here.
And then
how
the
do you
Z
attract,
motion.
How do you attract? How do you create call to action? That I learned early on, which was quite interesting, which I've used a lot in advertising and the way I do work now as well. Like people's attention worse nowadays, right? So how do you capture attention with all of that? So then from there, the language that I could code in went obsolete. And then there was a new software called Flash that came in, and then I was like, oh man, I don't want to learn a new language. And I saw a TV commercial. I was like, man, this is fucking easy to do. Like, no need to code, no need to do anything.
Easy to do.
No need to learn new languages. I can just think of some ideas, and someone else would shoot it for me. Fuck, easy work, man. Like, so I did a couple. At that time, I used also drawing a few things like graffiti, designing characters. Just for fun, I was creating some games early on. A guy called Simon Beaumont in an agency called Euro RSCG saw my drawings. He saw my websites for Hotlink and Maxis mostly, and he's like, hey, we got the Hotlink account. Why did you come and join us? So then I went into advertising. And this one's a funny one. One of my first pieces of print ad, and I come from a digital world. I don't know anything about print production. And here, straight to an art director, skipping designers, FA job or whatever, going to be an art director. And I designed my first print ad. And I do this ad for Hotlink. And the illustration, but I didn't know about printing process. I never checked the FA properly. The final print ad that went on newspaper, it printed. The illustration was off from the people and stuff like that. So the suit came to me. It's like, why the fuck is it like this? The clients are fucking pissed off. So I was like, with my bullshitting skills. I was like, dude, you all don't know young people. Young people like things a bit like fucking off. And then the clients are like, oh, fuck, he's right, man. We trust the youngest fella here. He's damn cool. I'm no more the youngest person. I can't pull that shit off anymore. That one really taught me like, fuck, next time check properly, man. So I don't know, like from don't know anything from print production to really learning, making a mistake and learning from a mistake. I think that's
definitely like one of the most memorable like first job, like because his first print, right? First print, you mess it up and somehow you saved it.
Yeah. After 2 years, we lost the account and the account went to BBDO. So we were supposed to go for a few of us were selected to go for interviews. I guess the cool art directors and writers and stuff like that. A few of us went there, but I didn't want to just be forced to because I was designing websites for Maxis, Hodling forever.
Yeah.
And then coming in, doing 2 years of Hodling was also like, oh man, it's the same brand. So what I did was I drew a comic book and I sent it to all the ECDs in town because I like comics as well.
Yeah.
Just like Yi, the last podcast which I listened to.
For Jenhan and Ed, VJ is the only guest who's been listening to all our episodes so far religiously.
I find it quite cool. I think there's so many, other than old friends, people that I don't know. I think learning from everyone else and their journey is quite important as well.
Yeah, it is very. It has been such a rewarding and like enlightening experience for me personally.
So back to you drew comics,
so I drew my resume, so my story in a comic form, along with my work in between, explaining my work. I sent it to a whole bunch of ECDs. I honestly, the next day, within sending it by 24 hours, 48 hours, I met with so many ECDs in town. And that time I was like just art director. And there was one funny story. I got a phone call from a very famous, who's now a CCO in an agency. Maybe I don't know if I should name, but it's fine. Yeah. So he calls me and he's like, I saw your comic book. I saw your CV. I want to hire you, but the role is a freelance role. Would you be open? So when he said freelance, I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't do freelance because I need a permanent. As I was saying permanent, the phone just went. I was like, hello? Hello? I was like, fuck, the guy cut me off. He couldn't take rejection. Right. For me, man, I don't want to work.
Maybe you got no credit, bro.
Yeah, that's why. Maybe he's hodling right now. Credit that time. That time all, $10, $15.
Correct.
I want to think it's like that, but I'm pretty sure when he heard no, he fucking put the phone down.
Yeah.
And I swear to myself, like that time, I would never be a person like that. I always hear the person out, There's reasons why people say no. You don't take rejection so badly. I think that's quite important as well. But yeah, that was interesting. And then I went for a few interviews. I had gray hair when I was really young. So I went for one interview. The ECD just kept, I had two person commented on my hair, not on my work.
Yeah.
One person
How
was
old were you at this point?
20 something, pretty young. So I already had like gray patches.
Right.
And one person was like, oh, I think this industry is all about image and you cannot be old in this industry.
What?
I think you have to dye your hair.
Oh, no.
Then I was like,
what if you had no hair?
Yeah, that's the thing.
God lah, jobless lah.
No wonder lah. No wonder this podcast.
So that was one. And then the other person was just staring at my hair the whole time. Then after a while, it got uncomfortable. I was like, is there anything wrong with my hair?
Yeah.
He said, oh, no. Because my hair is gray as well. Right. So I was just wondering,
he found someone else.
It's like common. Finally, there's someone else who's younger than me who has gray hair. But it was quite cool. I still keep in touch with this person. But yeah.
Wait, I just want to ask the rest, right? Like, is it true that image was so important back then?
Yeah, I did have one comment also, right? Someone told me, said, Jarrod, now you're this title now. You should change your car. You should change your car to a Mini Cooper. I'm like, huh? I cannot afford lah. My salary not, I mean, it doesn't allow me to pay for that loan.
Man, I drove a Suzuki Swift for the longest time.
Yeah, I remember that Swift.
Only because I did the first campaign for Suzuki Swift.
It's all about creating image anyway.
Yeah, but it was quite like that,
right,
where you had to look a certain part,
Well,
but nowadays the more fucked up you look, the more cooler you are.
Yeah.
So I think that's
this
fine.
guy has an age.
Yeah,
right?
he's got a character and stuff like that.
I take the bus and train everywhere.
I
Nobody
do.
ever asked me to get a car.
In London, I take the bus and train everywhere
here
as
as
well.
well. Yeah.
Okay, back to your story.
Yeah,
bro.
wait. Okay, but I want to break from this story for a while. Like, this is like a freight train, like non-stop. I'm just curious, like your behaviors, your actions have been so consistent. Like you are VJ true and true until today. I'm so curious. Was there to you a defining moment that gave you this confidence?
I don't know if it's confidence. Okay, so naturally, I'm a slight introvert as well. Especially back when I was an art director.
I knew you were an introvert the minute you spoke. I could sense it.
Yeah. I'm sure. So yeah, just along the way. But my career wasn't going anywhere, and I had someone who actually told me like the moment, because my writer was doing all the talking, all the presenting.
Yeah.
I just gave the ideas, and sometimes he would steal the limelight. That's what one of my ex-bosses kind of told me. Like, you know what? Actually, I'm just gonna hire you and not your writer, only because I think
You're doing the work.
You're doing the work, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or you're doing some cool shit, but you're just hiding behind a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that was like the moment for me. And I've had people who actually said that you are not going to go anywhere in your career because they've never seen, they don't work with me. So they only see my partner talking, but not me giving the ideas and stuff like that. And when you hear things like that, you're like, I love it when people say that you can't do it, then I'll fucking do it. Right? So when they told me like, oh, you can't go anywhere with your career, that was one of my points. Like, you know what? I'm going to show you.
You were always taking the back seat.
Yeah.
And there was a time where someone said, oh, you're not going to go anywhere. And what did you do?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I heard that. And then someone else, when I went for an interview, that guy analyzed me at the interview.
Yeah.
And in the first week, he told me something that really changed my way of working. It's amazing. And we'll get to that in a bit. But that was my changing
That
point.
was the point. Okay.
But yeah, so then the comic thing, then I joined an agency called TBWA early on, and I was an art director there, or senior.
Creative Juice.
TBWA first.
Yeah,
I actually came back to Creative Juice later on. But TBWA first, so not a lot of people. So a lot of people they know certain parts of my career, but they don't know the early part, right? So TBWA, I was doing a lot of dark marketing, cigarettes. We're doing
Alcohol?
Cigarettes, alcohol, Durex, all the bad stuff, basically. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. That was it. So I was doing a Recharged Revelation. It was like a festival in Port Dickson. It was insane. I'm sure some of y'all have been in the younger days to this festival.
I think we have a picture of me.
I've seen you in one of my bungalows partying with me, man. Don't lie. Don't tell me you've never been. But yeah, it used to be quite crazy. I used to be an art director for that. It was crazy. They used to send us to Zouk outs in Singapore, learn how they do clubbing, come back here. I just went and
cigarette
partied
brand,
for,
right?
To throw like a party.
It's a massive rave.
Festival.
It's a massive rave.
Okay.
A lot of EDM DJs come down from all over the world. So doing a lot of dark marketing. Pretty fun. Then from there, that was the turning point. I went to an interview in Ogilvy. I met a guy called Brian Capel who really did a lot for my career. His analysis was that, like, break away from your partner. I'm going to hire you alone. And that's why I worked with Jarrod as well. We went to Ogilvy, had a lot of fun there. Worked with a few different partners. One of my ex-partners just passed away. Rest in peace. Amazing writer, Kenneth Yu. If you've never seen his work, there's a piece of Economist ad that says,
Trump Donald.
which was amazing. Won a lot of awards. I worked with him for a while. What a brilliant mind. What a crazy guy. But there I worked with Brian Capel and Danny Kumar, who are amazing leaders. Learned a lot from them. One thing I learned from Brian early on when I joined there, which is quite true. I don't think I'm a very good creative. And I'm not a good art director or a crafter. I've got ideas, yes, but everybody's got ideas, right? But one thing he told me to really change, he said, like, you are really good with people. You are a magnet. You're a sponge. That's why I said. You absorb, you learn very fast. And you bring people together. So it's like a sponge and a magnet.
Social glue.
Yeah. So I understand things really fast. Because I studied coding. I learn new things every time. Until now, I'm
So
still
you're
learning.
looking at people going like, if not this, then. If not this, then.
Yeah, correct. So things like that, right? Like you would code like that. I also learn things very fast. That's why I could do anything you put me in. I will learn really fast. Like I could run, I could play hockey, I could play football. I could do anything really fast.
So that changed how you think or how you approach advertising.
And also how I develop. Like he told me, you are going to be a good creative leader. You're not a good creative, but you're going to be a good creative leader because you're a sponge. You bring people together.
Brian Capel?
Yes. So that's what I did, right? Like,
So I'd like to add on to that, him being a sponge. So I was a junior guy at Ogilvy, and these guys were, I think, senior team.
This 2000s?
2007 or 6 or something around there.
Okay.
And true, right? What he's saying, he was a sponge. Everybody would congregate at their table. And the vibe, the beat, the heartbeat of the agency all happened at that table. And it was quite nice because you just come together. And I think that's where you bond with different people. That's where...
So you were a junior, Jarrod?
I was junior. I was just sitting down there and saying... I did ask him also a few questions. Bro, how do I drop this title junior art director once? He said, fucker, just do more work lah.
just keep on
drink
doing
more
it.
party lah.
Drink more party.
But that's where you got the incriminatory photos of him at Port Dickson. Do more work, attend more parties.
So at that time, you were art director?
Senior
Senior
art
director?
director.
So like juniors like Jarrod will come by and because it sounds like that your space was like the beating heart of the agency. Like I'm sure it attracted a lot of like juniors. What was the relationship like, or like
It was just fun. Like no one looked at titles.
Yeah.
Even the CDs would come down to our table because that was like the party table. Like everybody was having fun there.
Yeah.
It was fun times, honestly. Then along the way from there, I think I went to Thailand for a bit.
River Orchid.
River Orchid sounds like a massage parlor, but it was a fun agency. It was set up by two crazy guys. My ex-boss from TBW went there, Chris Harden.
Why did you go there? What made you want to choose Thailand?
I don't know, because Thailand advertising was crazy as always. I just wanted to know why they were crazy.
And how they
I
did
just
it,
didn't go to like a famous agency. I went to a small agency, but this agency, they were not like the typical advertising agency. They were doing events, activation. So I've never done activation. So I've done all the other things like BTL, dark marketing, the whole T.H.A.M.B. rebrand in Ogilvy, big campaigns, but I've never done events, activation. At that point, going to Thailand, man, for 1 year, I only did 1 year because drank so much in Thailand that the doctor told me that, man, you gotta leave Thailand. It's like sending a kid to a candy shop. You can't live in Thailand anymore. Please leave the country right now. I learned so much. I learned like crazy ways of thinking. We had like crazy briefs of like, how do you tell the audience that a bank is extending extra hours, just 45 minutes extra so that you can come and do your banking. They're like, oh, extra time. Oh, football, extra time. Let's put football and banking together. Let's create an event of like just a bunch of people walking around with like, extra time, showing the number, things like that. This is random stuff like that, which I appreciated a lot.
What were some of, you say like you learned to think differently and more creatively there, right? What were some of these lessons that you can share?
Just one of the things is like you take your product like your industry like banking, and you just jam it with something that's totally out of
something that runs in parallel. And then
like some connection. Not at all. Sometimes
from
not
a different industry, from a different category.
Like, take this and put it with a circus. What would you think of? Take this and put it with
something random.
Like football. What would you think of? Something random. And I thought that was quite interesting. So I did a lot of that in Thailand. Came back, went to BBDO. I was the digital CD then. Worked with people like Man, doing all the social digital. That was early social media. So I was always kind of like and I moved fast to CD as well because I was like the digital guy in the advertising world. So I understood digital.
You were like, so to speak, like ahead of the curve lah.
Yeah.
I got a question that I wanted to ask earlier. It sounds like when you met Brian, like he changed a lot of things within. Like he helped you understand yourself, right? And you say you picked up leadership skills from him. What are some of the things that you observe that you still carry with you today?
I think that whole thing he did for me, where he told me what I was good at and what I was bad at, and me focusing on what was bad and trying to bring other people. I can't do it myself. So usually you need to balance yourself with other people who are better than you at certain things and learn from them or work together with them. For me, until today, I still use that quite a bit. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not the best creative, but there are people, and I'm really bad at certain things like copywriting and stuff like that. So I bring in team members who are better than me in those things. And then we work together and we create work. Hopefully that's good.
That's beautiful.
And like he said, I was better as a leader, a creative leader than a creative, which I admit even until today. So I
think that's one of the good strengths of an advertising person, knowing yourself, knowing what others are good at, and then bringing it.
No, the industry is that, like, understanding people is the main thing for advertising. You are selling to
to people. I think for me, I see a very similar thing with like comedy, which is like if I can't laugh at my own joke, why would I even entrust this out there?
But you can also laugh at your own joke and no one else laughs with you. That is also
true.
Some people in advertising also do that. They think, oh man, this is a beautiful piece of work. Everybody's gonna love it, and then you put it out like, fuck, nobody loves it. It's so subjective, right?
It is.
Sometimes what we do and understanding people can change that a lot. So when you understand people, you try to understand why they're gonna skip this. They're gonna, like put ad blockers and are not gonna see it. Find ways to attract attention from people. I think that's so important in our industry. Then from there, I went to biggest mistake in my life is to move for money. So I went to Singapore at one point. I worked on the client side for one point, and I just went for money. I'll be honest.
What happened? What do you mean by worst mistake?
No, it wasn't a good place to work. I was not happy. I was miserable. I thought I lied to myself. I thought looking at the bank account at the end of the day, at the end of the month could help me. It didn't help me. And then 7 months in, I was so bad. Like I did some decent work for a brand called Samsung.
Yeah.
We did some fun stuff in Singapore, but I wasn't happy. If you're not happy, you're not going to do the best work, right?
Yeah.
You were at a client side in Indonesia as well.
Yeah, that's after that. We're coming to that.
Coming. Yeah.
Ed cannot wait, bro. Ed wants to
cannot
skip
wait.
the story, bro.
Don't skip the story.
I was thinking, which client is this? I'm trying to piece it together.
Ed,
Okay,
right,
but
Ed.
you don't want to say.
No, Samsung. I just said it.
Samsung.
So I was
Ed
working.
is like a human timeline, you know. Like he
Nice. I
he
love it.
checks his
I love it.
checkbox is like, okay, he knows the year and where you are and what you've done. He's just tracking that to see.
He's
if
known
you're-
Ed's known my career quite a bit. I think he knows the part where I'm getting into,
Yeah.
but nothing before.
Ah.
Which is quite true. Like sometimes you're invisible in the industry for a long time, and it's fine. But you strive to do. Like you attract attention with your work as well. That's so important. Like you keep trying it, right? Like, and some people don't even get there. Like you're just flying under the radar. And we're in the industry of branding and marketing. And think of this yourself, right? Like how do you market yourself? How do you market your work? Get on LinkedIn, talk about it. You know, like there's ways to attract attention to yourself. If you can't do it for yourself, you can't do it for other people.
True.
Why are you in this industry? you know?
Definitely, yeah.
So then 7 months in, depressed, didn't like it. Along the way, I used to travel from Singapore to Malaysia quite a bit. And I used to meet Saad Hussein quite a lot. And this guy also is another leader, helped me really take me to the next level. And that's what I did. So he found out that I was unhappy in one of our talks. And I freelanced with him right before I moved to Singapore a bit. So he liked
Saad
my...
was the main man at TBWA.
Creative Juice first and then TBWA.
Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he saw me at the airport. He knew 1 week after he came to my place in Singapore with an offer letter and he horned. He's like, come down. I want to talk to you. He's like, I've got an offer for you. It's
a man with a mission.
Yeah. Then I looked at it. I was like, damn, pay cut. But fuck, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with a lot of money anyway. I might be happier with less money. So I took a pay cut, joined him. Best decision in my life. Saad was the one who kind of told me that, dude, I know you got a lot of crazy ideas. And you're quite a crazy person. Please do anything. Get us in trouble. We'll go to jail together or whatever. I'll take the heat for you. Just go wild. So I went to Creative Juice. That was early on. We were doing Nando's for like 5-6 years. Man, we were doing some crazy shit with Nando's.
I like that,
Yeah, we were doing all the social commentary. Whenever something happens in politics, Lee Chong-wei, you know, like Shun wrote that line. We did all the crazy stuff on Nando's for 5 years. Got us really famous. There was a point that, you know, every client in town wanted to work with the Nando's guys. So I remember we would go into pitches with 3 slides. That's all. Because we had the air to us. They knew we were going to come up with something crazy. I remember going to Tesco, to the clients, and then we presented an ad and they wanted to sell Tesco everyday products. It was cheaper products. So we went with one thought. The line was Sami value. And the clients laughed for 15 minutes. And the whole concept was like, oh, Malaysia, a lot of people, they don't have the biggest houses and stuff like that. But they would buy cheap products. But suddenly the house would have small house but got chandelier. Or fucking gold gate. You know, like TV, 85 inch, but the house as big as the house. You know, like crazy inside, right? So we sold that inside. And then we said, meet our character who's going to sell this idea, Sami Value, which was played by Kevin J. Man, the clients laughed for 25 minutes. And we went to that with the whole ad. We didn't have scripts or nothing. We had one character. Clients call us on the way back. We were laughing the whole way back as well. Wow, how the fuck did we sell that idea? We're like, no idea. We just had a name, you know, like, and a cool insight. And the client's like, I'm not so comfortable with just having one Indian fella there. Can you put a Malay person there? So no problem, man. We'll put a Malay person, but we'll have him have a Kelantan accent. So they were like, okay, quite funny as well. So yeah, we did like very whose line is it anyway? We got 2 comedians in front of a green screen. Barney did a good job. I think his team direct this. We didn't have a script. We had products that they knew. And then they would not know what the background picture was. Only when it came up, they would look at it. Then they have to improv. They're like, oh shit, I bought this submarine. And that time they had a lot of submarine happening with some of our politicians.
Some that couldn't, some that couldn't sink.
So I bought a submarine because I bought this brass from every day. You know, so they would make jokes like that. It was just mad. It was just fun.
During that time, right? Like, did you face to go in with like such crazy ideas, even like Nando's, or like, was there ever like hesitance from the client? How did you sway them, or from the get-go they're like, we're in?
It's easy at that point because you've already done it for a few brands. With some clients, they are a bit hesitant when the idea is a bit crazier. It is just trying and testing out. You will have 9 fellas who don't buy it. You'll have that one fella who buy it. Make the most out of that and make the 9 others buy it after.
Because I'm also curious what the landscape of like the other ads was like at that time.
I don't know. Maybe the rest can answer.
Everybody was doing different stuff, and these guys came in from a more local insight and using local observations. That's why the work really stood out.
Yeah.
You were the first few that were doing this kind of topical local stuff, which
very
kind of
local.
paved the way for a lot of us to start doing that kind of ad. Yeah. So I think
And we were doing random stuff. Sometimes it's not even client stuff. Like there was one we did with Kevin J. Even before he was famous. We did the Tolongla advertise.
Yes,
Malaysian
I saw
point.
that,
T.H.A.M.B.I.
the
We used
time it
stand-up
was-
comedians before stand-up comedians were in ads. Like things like that.
We're
We
still
would-
not in ads, by the way. We're
You're
still
in the
not in
ad
ads.
industry, but yeah.
Only in podcast lah, advertising podcast.
So we did some of that. And-
can we talk about one skippable pula, one unskippable campaign you did back with I think Creative Juice. It was the happiest meal ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. So one of our designers back then, she did something with the soup kitchen, and at the same time, the McDonald's toys. People were buying the toys, the Minion toys,
yeah.
and they were throwing away the meals. So that was happening. And then she was working in the soup kitchen. She called me up one night. She's like, "Hey, VJ, I've got this idea. I was working in the soup kitchen. Sometimes we got not enough food to feed people. We have to turn them away because we don't have enough food. And these people are throwing away all this food at McDonald's for the toys.
Yeah.
We should do something about that." I said, if you want to do in the next 24 hours. That was the advice I gave her. I was like, just go out there and stand outside and do something by tonight or tomorrow. A few of them, they created this giant Happy Meal box and they painted it and then they put there the happiest meal. They went outside McDonald's and people were donating. Some people were like, what the fuck are you all doing here?
Yeah.
They're like looking and they're still throwing, sometimes throwing in front of us. They don't want to donate the meal.
Yeah.
But some of them gave to us. That night, all of us went out. We started giving it to homeless people.
Yeah.
The next day, we had another round. We gave it to orphanages, and man, just seeing joy in their faces.
Yeah.
They've never, like some of them never had like a McDonald's meal before, which is crazy. And we did a Facebook page, and people started all around the country started doing it. At that point, someone called Saad, which is one of the big bosses from TBW. At that point, we got absorbed into TBW from Creative Juice. They were like, the president was like, oh fuck, man, McDonald's Global called us. We're gonna get fired. In some other countries, we had McDonald's. And you guys got to stop this shit. What the fuck are y'all doing? This is getting like global attention.
But I thought you said he'll go to jail with you.
Yeah, no. So no, this one is the big guy. So he's threatened, and Charles like, no, fuck it. I'll fucking take it. Don't worry, all of y'all. Don't worry. So we took the page down, or we stopped doing our thing, but the whole country started doing it. It went on TV. It became like a huge movement.
Yeah.
And it was sad that McDonald's didn't capitalize on this and be a part of it, but they have their reasons as well. But funny, after 1 year of them threatening, like legal action and stuff like that, 1 year after they actually hired us to do a campaign, they said like, man, last year we had like so much traction just because of this crazy thing y'all did. Can you all do this officially for a brand, not as not like cowboys lah. So we went back to them again with very few ads. We had only one song this time. There was a lot of McDonald's clients in this room. I remember just me and Saad going in to present, and we had one slide. The joy for McDonald's is gone. It's all fries being fried, burgers being tossed and grilled. Where's the joy in McDonald's anymore? The brief was to sell Happy Meal to parents and kids. And we want to talk about love. We want to bring the love back to McDonald's, right? So that was the idea. Then we said, but love, not the normal kind of love, tough love. So parents are tough to a lot of kids. You punish your kids because it's a form of love as well. We just played a song, Rasa Sayang, instrumental. And man, they cried after that. Then a lot of them suddenly became like a sharing
session.
emotional. Like, I joined McDonald's because of this. Just people crying, But it was amazing to see them so passionate about the brand. And we ran that campaign. It changed things for them as well. And after that, they became a lot more emotional.
What was the business problem that preceded this? I mean, why did McDonald's
Decline.
engage you?
Decline? No, just same. The ads were always the same. The decline. When we pointed that out, when we came in to present, they said, yeah, you're right. It's always the same. But we were showing food, but lost the emotion.
Fatigue lah, right?
Yeah.
People weren't interested in Happy Meal anymore.
Yeah.
From TBWA, and then what happened?
A couple of years to BBDO. There's a lot of them who always follow me quite a bit. It's not a cult. I like working with them. Like I said, like I've got people that make me better, and I hopefully make them better and they learn from me as well.
I think. Sorry, to add to that, I think great leaders always have not a cult, have a following wherever they go, and you have a following wherever you go lah.
Somebody once said this to me. One of my ex-creatives said, VJ, you're like two things he said to me. One is you build jobs for other people. You're like a LinkedIn. or like a job, like Job Street. You bring a lot of people and you get them jobs. I think that's one. Another one is that you're like Samuel L. Jackson in Avengers, you're
Nick Fury.
ensembling, Nick Fury. You're like ensembling all this amazing talent from all around, which I love. That's why I said there's so much talent around, and you don't need to feel like, oh man, I need to be the best person in the room. You can't be the best person in the room. When you acknowledge that.
How do you gauge someone's crazy? What's your process? Is it taking
But I don't
them
hire only crazy people. Because maybe I'm the only crazy one.
Right.
I hire people who are sane sometimes.
So how do you
normal people?
Do you have a thing you do to kind of like get a read on
I think
someone?
after
a crazy
after a
ometer,
few
I guess.
years, I feel like I have within the first 1-2 minutes, I know if the person's right or not.
Okay.
But based on different strengths, I think this person might be good at this.
Yeah.
I think I have an intuition for that to know enough. Like, okay, this person potentially good at this. Or this person is really good at social media, but I think has potential for big ideas. So I'm very fast to get those.
Did you learn this from someone, or it was
not
intuition?
really? I think it's just an intuition. Like I said, like my strength was that understanding people, understanding
And
developing talent as well.
Okay, so I got two questions. One is, has someone proven you wrong? And secondly,
gone, for sure.
if you thought wrongly of someone, can someone then go back on the right side? How strict are you with like this?
No, I'm not very strict. If you ask a lot of the people who work with me, but I have made mistakes before. Just once or twice, I was excited about the talent, and then they come in, suddenly develop an ego when they win, and then people change along the way.
Become a monster.
Yeah, you just never know sometimes. Yeah. And that's one of my, we'll get to that eventually. It's a pet peeves as well. It's like ego.
You are like
people
calling out
changing.
the segments of the podcast.
He's the number one fan.
I'm the only fan, maybe?
Yeah, you're probably the only fan.
I hope not.
But let me say something about VJ. Let's something about you, lah. You're a people person, and you know what? We organize workshops and all that. You're the only trainer who actually brings in all the different people. No other trainers brings in audiences. Only you.
Because the event company not doing a good job.
Yeah, but other trainers all, we call them. But people want to sign up for you. I don't know whether you told them about it. But they're
I think
all
it's
rushing.
my LinkedIn reach, but I'm also quite an entertainer.
Yeah,
I think I've learned that quite a bit because I used to play in a band as well. And even, I don't know, you've come to a couple of gigs maybe.
Yep.
What did you play?
When
He
I
was the
sang.
lead singer of the band,
sang.
bro.
I play instruments, but I'm really bad at it.
Right.
I could sing. I can sing. But yeah.
Nice.
Where we
are
at?
you going to sing?
So
not
we were
today.
back
Singing.
at TBWA.
Yeah,
after
so TBWA,
video.
VBDO, a couple of them follow me, did something. But at that point, man, I was kind of like, I wouldn't say jaded, but I felt like I've done everything. I won my Cannes Lion. I'm not an awards person, but I've done a lot of things. From Malaysia, I wanted to try other things. And one of my friends was the CMO at Gojek, and he saw one of my talks. 1 or 2 years, I didn't know what the hell Gojek was at that point. For 2 years, he'd been after me. And then I was like, oh man, I need to leave Malaysia. I want to try something else. I don't want to be in advertising anymore. I want to try. Basically, I just like learning new things. And I want
like
to try,
creating.
Yeah, and creating is one, but also just learning new things.
Right.
Like I don't want to be comfortable
You like
in
being
one thing.
uncomfortable,
I like
right?
being challenged, uncomfortable, things that I don't know. So I went into this tech company called Gojek. I met the founders, spoke to both of them. I enjoyed the energy. I went in there, man. When I went to Indonesia, when they interviewed me, they realized I've never been to Jakarta in a while.
Yeah.
So then they flew me down, and I had long interviews, talked to a lot of different people. But I also asked the Gojek drivers, like, do you love this brand?
Yeah.
Man, they would die for the brand. They love the brand. The brand took care of them. They did
this
so
is
much.
Pre-interview, preparing for the interview.
This was there at the interview, but instead of just the interview, I went down to ask the drivers themselves as well. I just want to know from not just the people who are selling me to join, but the guys who are actually working
there
for the brand. I was like, well, do you like this brand? I was like, man, we love it. So the Gojek driver was telling me, I was like, man, I love this brand actually helped my life so much, and I love the passion there. So I went into Gojek and set up the internal well, there was about like 10 creatives already there, but not like a proper team.
Yeah.
So this was the very early days.
Early days. Well, they've been around for a while, but early days to set up the team. So I went in there, took the 10 people, grew it to 120 in 2 years. So I ran this team called Creative Labs. Was everything from advertising to social to in-app
E-coms?
content, events to whatever, the podcast team, whatever. We set up podcast rooms and stuff like that. Man, it was crazy. It was wild. And coming into a tech company from advertising, the creatives were kind of like the rock stars. But when you go to like a tech company,
Yeah.
you are just, no one gives a fuck about creative and marketing. You're the last in the order.
Until you
in fact, the drivers are more important than you.
Lowest on the food chain.
Yeah, lowest on
That's
the food
true
chain.
until you get Rich Brian involved.
Yeah, so
Another unskippable, incredibly unskippable ad. So how did that even happen?
Yeah, so-
is that manufactured or real?
it is manufactured. In short, manufactured. I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
And I'll get to that in a bit. People didn't believe in creative and marketing.
In Gojek.
In Gojek. Because the rock stars are the tech guys,
Yeah.
the engineers, and they were doing an amazing product, an
What
amazing
was your
job.
role when they hired you?
Senior Vice President of Creative, SVP.
But that's a big title. They must have asked you to do to
So
give
when
you
I
that
spoke-
title. They must have believed in creative.
The founder, okay, so one thing, the founder, I loved his energy. There's this guy called Nadim
Yeah.
and Kevin, both of them. But Nadim is now at the age of 36 or whatever. He's the Minister of Education in Indonesia. So he is a crazy visionary.
Yeah.
When I spoke to him, I was like, man, this guy is something else. Harvard student, brains, insane thinking. He was very creative. He understands people. He understands problems. He has creative ways to solve them. And he told me, said, dude, like we are really bad at like our creative work. I want us to be a cult brand. Can you make Gojek cool? That was his brief to me. Then I was like, I got you. First 3-4 months was a struggle because no one else believed in us. We had to work with so many different departments. Nobody cared about us until we had one hit. When that one hit happened, then everybody's like, oh shit, our campaign. Everybody's talking about it. That's so cool. The whole country is talking about it. We want more now. So the appetite, it snowball. I always call this the snowball effect. When you start with something small and then it grows to something bigger, suddenly everybody believes in it.
Everybody wants in.
And then the whole, everybody wants in. So the main hit was the Karangan, the flower billboard. So it was an outdoor piece. So basically this one's quite interesting. Grab during the same time, the Independence Day in Indonesia was also the Southeast Asia Games, SEA Games. And Grab was the official sponsors. So they bought over all media spaces. So we wanted to talk about National Day, but got no media space to buy. So we're like, fuck, we are fucked. We didn't plan this smart enough. So like, fuck, how do we make a bit of buzz? So got into a workshop called all the marketing team, call all the creative people, sit in a room. And one thing I asked them, as a foreigner, I don't know anything about their culture.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm always excited with anything that they show me. So, oh, this is so fucking cool. This is damn nice. So I asked them one question.
Don't skip the ad.
Oh, that was so exciting, so interesting. And don't worry, all the ads that he talked about, we'll share it on our Instagram and where else are we on?
We're on Spotify, on our YouTube links. It'll all be there.
Yeah, it'll all be there except for one ad, okay? And that's the CD-ROM. CD-ROM!
We can't find his designs on the CD-ROM.
Everything will be up except for the CD-ROM, okay? And stay tuned for part 2 with VJ Anand.
And this has been an episode of
Don't skip the ad.